let's see how we can create our own merge operator for RxJS. So let's take a look at our test. In our test, I'm creating two observables, one that will emit numbers and the other one that will emit strings. These values are going to be emitted at different time frames using setTimeout. Now, I'm using at the bottom of our test the merge operator from RxJS to combine these two observables together. So under the hood, merge will subscribe to all of the source observables and it will pass every next event that it gets to the next observer, which in our case is the subscribe block. So in our subscribe block, we are checking that we get the results that we expect to get and that we get them in the correct order as well. And then we also check if we get the complete event, which will only happen if all of the source observables have completed. So let's see how we can create our own merge operator to do exactly the same thing. And to do that, I'm going to make sure that our function takes in all of the source observables as an array using the spread operator. Then I'm going to, in our function, create a new observable and return it. And whenever we create a new observable, we need to pass in a function that takes an observer. And that observer is going to be used to send some values to the subscribe block in our case. So inside of our newly created observable, I'm going to map over all of the observables because we need to subscribe to all of these observables. So I'm mapping over them and I'm subscribing to them. And then I'm adding a handler for every type of event. So we have one for next events, we have one for error events, and we also have one for complete events. Now, what do we need to do whenever we get a next event? On every next event that we get from one of the source observables, we are just going to send it to the next observer. So we're going to say observer.next with the next event. Whenever we get an error event, we're also just going to send that to the next observer. And now, what do we need to do when we get a complete event? So, as I said, the observable created by the merge operator is only going to complete when all of the source observables have completed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable called number of observables. So this is going to be observables.length. And I'm also going to create a variable number of observables completed, which is going to start at null. Now, whenever we reach this block, we know that one of the source observables has completed. So we can say number of observables completed ++ to augment it with 1. And then we can check that if the number of observables equals the number of observables that have completed, then we know that this will only happen if all of the source observables completed. And in that case, we can say observer.complete. So we can complete our newly created observable. And that is basically what the merge operator does. So if we use our own merge operator in our test, we can see that it still works. If we remove one of the values here, we see that it fails. If we add it again, we see that it works. Now, the only thing we need to do is we need to clean up that inner subscription here. And that is actually why I use the map operator, because this is going to make sure that we get back an array of subscription objects. And then at the bottom of our producer function, we can create a function, and that function is going to be executed whenever RxJS is cleaning up our observables. So we can register some teardown logic here, and then we can loop over our subscriptions using for each, and we can call the unsubscribe method on every subscription object. And that is how you can create your own merge operator for RxJS.